When Elon Musk's personal bodyguard, ex-Special Forces operative Marcus Kane, dove into a burning building to save a woman trapped inside, he expected gratitude, not a death sentence. What Kane discovered in the smoke-filled wreckage wasn't just a victim, but a secret so explosive it put a target on his back. As Musk's security team turns against him and shadowy corporate forces close in, Kane must unravel a conspiracy that reaches the highest levels of SpaceX, before the next casualty is Elon himself. This is no ordinary rescue mission. It's a fight for survival that will redefine loyalty, courage, and the true price of protecting the world's most powerful man. Marcus Kane wasn't just another suit with an earpiece. A former Delta Force operator with 3 tours in Syria, he had been handpicked by Musk after foiling an assassination attempt at a Berlin tech conference. His reputation was built on 2 unshakable principles: anticipate the threat before it materializes and protect the principle at all costs. Kane moved through Tesla's Fremont factory like a ghost, his sharp eyes missing nothing, the nervous twitch of a new intern, the slight hesitation of a technician who lingered too long near Musk's workstation. Most assumed his cold demeanor was just the job, but those who knew him understood the truth. Kane had lost too many people to trust easily. His wife had been killed in a random car accident 6 months before he took the Musk assignment. The police called it bad luck. Kane knew better. That morning, something felt off. The usual security protocols had been altered without explanation. Musk's itinerary, typically locked down days in advance, was suddenly fluid. And then there was the woman, a redhead in a SpaceX hoodie who had been lingering near the parking garage for 3 days straight. When Kane ran her face through the database, it came back clean. Too clean. He was about to report it when the explosion rocked Building 4. The blast wasn't industrial. Kane knew the difference between an accident and an attack. This was a shaped charge, precise and deliberate. Glass shattered as he sprinted toward the smoke, his comms crackling with panicked voices. Inside, flames licked at the ceiling, and the acrid stench of burning insulation filled his lungs. Then he heard it, a weak cough from beneath a collapsed beam. The red-headed woman was pinned, her leg twisted at an unnatural angle. Blood streaked her face, but her eyes locked onto Kane's with terrifying clarity. "Don't call it in," she gasped as he heaved the beam aside. "They're listening." Kane froze. "They?" The woman's fingers dug into his wrist, her nails leaving crescent moons in his skin. "The Mars Project. It's not what you think. The O2 scrubbers." A coughing fit racked her body. "They're designed to fail." Before Kane could respond, gunfire erupted outside. 3 rounds punched through the wall near his head. He dragged the woman behind a reinforced server rack just as the windows exploded inward. "Who are you?" Kane demanded, pressing his sidearm into her hand. "Dr. Lena Cole. SpaceX Atmospheric Systems. Until they fired me for asking too many questions." She coughed again, this time flecking her lips with blood. "Musk doesn't know. They've been working around him." A shadow moved outside the shattered window. Kane's training took over. Center mass, double tap. The attacker dropped silently. Then his earpiece buzzed with a voice that turned his blood to ice. "Kane, abort extraction. Principal orders. The woman is a threat." But the voice wasn't Musk's security chief. It was someone much, much worse. The safe house stank of antiseptic and stale coffee, the kind of place where shadows clung to the corners like old regrets. Kane propped Dr. Cole against a moth-eaten couch, her labored breathing the only sound in the room besides the drip of a leaky faucet. Moonlight through the blinds painted stripes across the bullet wound in her side. A through and through, but the bleeding wouldn't stop. She'd lost too much blood in the car ride here, her fingers leaving smears of crimson on the Tesla's touchscreen as she input coordinates Kane didn't recognize. "You're not just some fired engineer," Kane said, pressing a wad of gauze into her wound. Cole hissed, her face pale under the flickering fluorescent light. Up close, he could see the scars, thin, precise lines along her hairline. Surgical scars. Someone had tried to erase her before. Cole's laugh was a broken thing. I designed the life support systems for Starship's crew module. The ones that are supposed to keep astronauts from suffocating on their way to Mars. She fumbled in her pocket, producing a thumb drive shaped like the SpaceX logo. 3 months ago, I found anomalies in the O2 scrubber code. Not bugs. Backdoors. Kane's military mind connected the dots before she finished. Sabotage. But the scale. Not just one ship, Cole whispered. Every starship rolling off the assembly line. The fail-safes are programmed to trigger at 60,000 feet, converting breathable oxygen into carbon monoxide. Slow. Quiet. Untraceable. She coughed, a bubble of blood forming at the corner of her mouth. I took this to the board. Next day, my lab was accidentally flooded with nitrogen gas. The faucets dripping counted seconds in the silence. Kane's phone buzzed, a priority alert from Tesla security. All personnel report sightings of Dr. Lena Cole immediately. Armed and dangerous. The attached photo showed Cole mid-scream, being dragged from a burning building by a figure whose face was conveniently blurred. Kane's figure. They're rewriting history already, Cole said, watching his screen. You're now my accomplice. A crash outside. Glass breaking. Kane had seconds to decide. Believe a woman he'd known for 2 hours, or trust the system he'd devoted his life to protecting. Cole's hand clamped around his wrist. The board voted unanimously to approve the changes after firing me. Unanimously, Kane. Even Elon wasn't in that meeting. That's when the door exploded inward. The door splintered inward with a thunderous crash, showering the room with wood fragments. Kane reacted on instinct, one arm scooping Dr. Cole behind the overturned kitchen table while the other drew his SIG sour in a fluid motion. 3 silhouettes flooded through the doorway, their tactical gear devoid of insignia but moving with the synchronized precision of private military contractors. Night vision goggles masked their eyes, turning them into faceless hunters. Kane's first 2 shots found their marks, center mass, just below the body armor's edge. The lead operative crumpled, but the others scattered with trained discipline. Bullets chewed through the drywall as Kane dragged Cole toward the bathroom, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The tiny window above the toilet was their only exit, barely wide enough for a child. "We'll never fit," Cole wheezed, her blood-slick fingers slipping on the tiles. Kane didn't answer. He smashed the glass with his pistol grip and hurled a smoke grenade from his belt into the living room. As gray plumes filled the apartment, he kicked the window frame until the rusted metal gave way. "Arms up," he ordered, boosting Cole through the opening just as the bathroom door exploded inward. A bullet grazed his ribs as he dove after her, landing hard on the fire escape. The alley below stank of rotting garbage and diesel fuel. Cole collapsed against the dumpster, her wound reopening as Kane ripped open an emergency suture kit from his ankle holster. The stitches were crude, but they'd hold long enough to reach the rendezvous point. "Listen carefully," Kane said, pressing Cole's shaking hands around the thumb drive. "There's a parking garage 3 blocks east. Black Tesla, plate ending in 7111. The trunk contains everything we need to expose this: hardware spoofers, satellite uplinks, and a direct line to someone inside SpaceX who can verify your data." Cole's eyes widened. "Who?" "Not over comms." Kane tapped his ear. Every frequency was compromised now. He checked his watch. 3:17 a.m. We have until dawn before Starship's crewed test flight launches. If that ship reaches 60,000 feet... I know what happens, Cole interrupted. Her pupils were dilated from blood loss, but her voice held steel. But your plan's missing one thing. The scrubbers have a dead man switch. If anyone tampers with the code remotely, they default to lethal mode immediately. She gripped his arm. We need physical access to the life support bay. Kane's jaw tightened. Infiltrating SpaceX HQ was suicide. Every biometric scanner, every security camera, every guard's retina pattern was wired into a system he'd helped design. And now he was the most wanted man in California. The distant wail of sirens decided for them. Kane hauled Cole upright, wrapping his jacket around her to hide the bloodstains. As they melted into the pre-dawn shadows, a new alert vibrated on his burner phone, a live feed from Vandenberg. The starship stood illuminated by floodlights, its sleek hull hiding a death sentence for the unsuspecting crew already boarding. The countdown read, T-minus 4 hours 22 minutes. Cole stumbled, her weight suddenly heavy against him. Kane, if we don't make it, we'll make it. He adjusted his grip on her waist, scanning the approaching headlights of a city bus. The perfect cover. But here's the new plan. You're going to that garage. Upload everything to the press, the FAA, every social media platform that'll take it. And you. Kane's smile didn't reach his eyes. I'm going to teach SpaceX what happens when they betray their own bodyguard. The bus doors hissed open. As Kane shoved Cole inside, his fingers brushed the wedding ring he still wore, a habit when death loomed close. Somewhere in the chaos, his wife's killers were watching. And this time, he wouldn't miss. The parking garage's flickering fluorescence cast long shadows as Kane watched Cole limp toward the black Tesla. Every security camera in the structure was now his ally. He'd hacked the feeds 30 minutes ago, looping empty footage to conceal their movements. His ribs ached where the bullet had grazed him, but the pain was secondary to the icy calculation settling over his mind. This wasn't just a protection detail anymore. This was war. Cole's fingers trembled as she input the access code Kane had given her. The Tesla's trunk hissed open to reveal not the expected arsenal, but something far more valuable. A quantum encryption terminal and a single silver keycard embossed with the SpaceX logo. Her breath caught. This is Raj Patel's master key. How did you? Later. Kane grabbed the equipment, his eyes never stopping their scan of the garage's dark corners. We have 90 minutes before shift change at SpaceX HQ. Upload the data now. As Cole connected the thumb drive to the terminal, Kane paced the concrete perimeter. His mind raced through every possible scenario, every contingency. He'd planned for this moment without realizing it. All those years studying SpaceX's blueprints, all those nights reviewing security protocols. The perfect bodyguard always knew how to break into what he protected. The terminal beeped. Cole's face went pale under the sickly yellow light. Kane, this isn't just about the O2 scrubbers. She rotated the screen to show schematics of something called Project Icarus, a modified Starship variant with weapons-grade laser arrays. They're not just sabotaging the Mars mission. They're building the first orbital strike platform. Kane's military mind instantly grasped the implications. Whoever controlled that technology wouldn't just a vibration in his pocket. The burner phone displayed a single word: compromised. Kane reacted instantly, yanking Cole behind a support pillar as sniper fire shattered the Tesla's windshield. The bullet would have taken her head off. Change of plans. Kane shoved the keycard into Cole's hand along with his wedding ring. Take the service elevator to sublevel 3. Find Raj. He's the only one who can stop this now. Cole's nails dug into his arm. "What about you?" Another shot ricocheted off the concrete near Kane's head. He didn't flinch. "I'm giving you a 20-minute window." His smile was all teeth. "Try not to waste it." Then he was moving, drawing fire away from Cole with calculated bursts from his SIG Sauer. The shooters took the bait, 3 operatives in tactical gear converging on his position. Kane recognized their formation. Israeli Special Forces. Hired guns. As the first attacker rounded a pillar, Kane disarmed him with a vicious twist, using the man's own momentum to slam his head into the concrete. The second got a bullet through the knee. The third almost had him, until Kane spotted the Omega X 33 watch on the man's wrist. The same model Chase wore. Kane's bullet found its mark between the eyes. The garage fell silent except for the dripping of blood and the distant hum of the elevator carrying Cole to safety. Kane checked his watch. 18 minutes left. Enough time to make sure no one followed her. He dragged the surviving operative to the Tesla, pressing the man's thumb to the biometric scanner in the trunk. The system lit up with a cascade of classified files, including flight manifests showing tomorrow's test launch carried not astronauts, but Pentagon observers. The operative spat blood. "You're too late, Bodyguard. The countdown's already started." Kane broke his nose with the pistol grip. "Then I'll just have to move faster." As he sprinted for the stairwell, the terminal behind him exploded in a fireball. Right on schedule. Cole would be underground by now, and the evidence was burning exactly as he'd planned. Let them think they'd won this round. The real game was just beginning. The fluorescent lights of SpaceX's Sublevel 3 corridor flickered like a failing heartbeat as Cole pressed Raj Patel's keycard against the biometric scanner. The door hissed open to reveal not the sterile lab she expected, but a war room straight out of a nightmare. Wall-mounted screens displayed real-time feeds of the Starship on the launch pad, its polished hull gleaming under the California sun. The countdown ticked mercilessly in the corner of every display. T-1 hour 47 minutes. Raj Patel lay slumped over a control console, his fingers still curled around a half-empty syringe of adrenaline. Blood seeped through the makeshift bandage around his thigh, a clean gunshot wound. Professional work. His dark eyes widened when he saw Cole. "You're supposed to be dead," he croaked. Cole didn't waste time. She slammed the thumb drive onto the console, the files exploding across every screen. "We need to override the scrubbers now." Raj's laughter turned into a wet cough. "You think I haven't tried?" The system's locked behind a triple authentication protocol. Only 3 people have the codes. "Chase, Covington, and Choi," Cole finished, her stomach dropping. The same 3 people Kane had just gone to confront. Above them, the building shuddered with the distant echo of an explosion. Alarms wailed as the ventilation system switched to emergency purge mode, sucking the air from the room in a violent rush. Cole's ears popped. Raj gasped, clawing at his throat. "They know we're here," he choked out. Cole's fingers flew across the keyboard, pulling up schematics of the life support bay. There, a manual override port, accessible only from inside the Starship itself. "We don't need codes. We need to get on board." Raj's blood-streaked hand clamped around her wrist. "You don't understand. That ship isn't carrying astronauts today. It's carrying weapons inspectors. The board's demonstrating Project Icarus for." Another explosion, closer this time. The door blasted inward, revealing a figure silhouetted by fire. Kane. Blood dripped from a gash across his forehead, his dress shirt torn and smoking. In one hand, he dragged an unconscious Ethan Choi by the collar. In the other, He held a pistol leveled at Victoria Chase's temple as she limped ahead of him, her designer blazer soaked in someone else's blood. Missing someone? Kane kicked Choi's body toward Raj. Had to leave Covington upstairs. He was indisposed. Chase spat on the floor, her perfect facade cracking. You've signed your death warrants, all of you. The launch sequence is irreversible. Kane ignored her, turning to Cole. Did you get it? Cole nodded toward the screens. We need physical access to the ship. The override has to be done manually. A slow, terrifying smile spread across Kane's face. He reached into his pocket and tossed Cole a security badge still warm with blood. Good thing I brought an invitation. The badge read, Pentagon Observer, Clearance Level Alpha. Chase's composure shattered. You don't know what you're tampering with. That technology will prevent wars. One demonstration and no nation would dare. Kane silenced her with a look. Funny. That's exactly what Oppenheimer said about the atomic bomb. Raj struggled to his feet, bracing against the console. We'll never reach the launch pad. Security's on full lockdown. Kane checked his watch, the same watch that had once counted down to his wife's funeral. Give me 15 minutes. He tossed Cole his pistol. Keep them alive. We'll need their voices to call off the launch. As Kane disappeared into the smoke-filled hallway, the building shook again. This time, Cole recognized the sound, not an explosion, but the roar of a rocket engine. The countdown now read, T-minus 1 hour 02 minutes. They were out of time. The launch complex stretched before Kane like a death trap designed by engineers, a maze of scorched concrete, razor wire, and armed patrols. Every muscle in his body screamed from the fight in the boardroom, but the pain was just data, another input to process. He crouched behind a fuel transport truck, watching the starship's gantry retract with agonizing slowness. T-minus 55 minutes glowed crimson on every display. Kane's stolen security badge wouldn't get him past the inner cordon. He needed chaos. A controlled explosion ripped through the east perimeter fence, exactly where he'd planted Choi's grenade 15 minutes earlier. As emergency crews sprinted toward the blast, Kane moved like a shadow through the sudden gap in security. His boots crunched over broken glass as he slipped into Launch Control's blind spot, the waste management tunnel. The stench of industrial cleaner burned his nostrils as he emerged into the crew access arm, a narrow bridge connecting the tower to the starship's hatch. 2 guards stood between him and the life support bay. Kane recognized their stance before their faces. Former SEALs, like him. Brothers in arms who'd taken different contracts. No time for stealth. Kane stepped into the open, hands raised. Stand down, gentlemen. This launch is compromised. Their rifles snapped up in unison. The taller one's finger hovered over the trigger. Orders are orders, Kane. Step back. You know who signed those orders. Kane kept walking forward, one measured step at a time. The same people who murdered my wife. The same people who'll gas those Pentagon observers in 90 seconds if this bird hits 60,000 feet. A flicker of doubt crossed the guards' faces. Kane saw his opening. The first guard went down to a pressure point strike beneath the ear. The second got a bullet to the thigh, non-lethal but debilitating. Kane caught him as he fell, easing him to the grating. "Check your comms," Kane whispered. "They've been lying to you too." Inside the starship, the air hummed with pre-launch energy. Warning lights pulsed along the curved walls as Kane pried open the life support panel. Cole's instructions flashed through his mind. Red wire to Terminal 3, bypass the primary chip, then hold the manual reset for 10 seconds. His fingers worked with surgical precision, each connection bringing him closer to. "Stop right there." The voice froze Kane's blood. He turned slowly to face Elon Musk standing in the hatchway, a pistol leveled at Kane's chest. But something was wrong. Musk's usually sharp eyes were glassy, his free hand trembling. A thin trickle of blood ran from his nose. "They drugged you," Kane realized. "The board. You're not in control." Musk blinked as if surfacing from deep water. "I authorized." "No, they showed me data." The gun wavered. "The observers, are they really on board?" A new alert blared through the ship. T-minus 30 minutes. "All personnel evacuate." Kane didn't flinch. "They're in the crew module right now, Elon. Breathing air that'll turn to poison in 20 minutes unless I finish this." He held up the disconnected scrubber chip, its circuits glinting ominously. "Your choice. Pull that trigger, and you become the man who weaponized space. Or help me stop this." 4-3 heartbeats. The only sound was the ship's cooling system cycling. Then Musk's arm dropped. He sagged against the bulkhead, the pistol clattering to the floor. The injections, Chase said they were vitamins. Kane was already back at the panel. "Can you override the countdown from here?" Musk dragged himself to a hidden console beneath the pilot's seat. His fingers flew across the keys. "I built a backdoor after the third hack attempt." "But Kane," he coughed violently, blood speckling his lips. "The Icarus array. It's on a separate system. If they get that laser online." T-minus 15 minutes. The ship shuddered as the first stage engines cycled up. Through the porthole, Kane saw emergency vehicles racing away from the pad. "No going back now." Cole's voice crackled through Kane's earpiece, the first clean signal in hours. "We've got the board in custody, but there's a problem. The Icarus targeting computer just came online by itself." Musk's head snapped up. "Impossible. Unless—" His face went pale. "Covington. He must have embedded the activation code in the countdown sequence." Kane's fingers closed around the final wire. "Then we'll just have to rewrite the ending." As the starship's engines roared to life beneath them, two men, a bodyguard and the inventor he'd sworn to protect, worked side by side to dismantle the weapon they'd helped create. The starship's engines screamed like a living thing as Kane braced himself against the shuddering bulkhead. The vibration rattled his teeth, threatening to shake loose his grip on the manual override panel. Sweat dripped into his eyes as he fought to keep the final wire connected. One slip now and the scrubbers would default to their deadly programming. Through the porthole, the launch tower fell away in slow motion, the California coastline shrinking to a toy model below. Altitude, 12,000 feet and climbing. Musk's fingers flew across the hidden console, his usually crisp commands slurred from whatever cocktail the board had pumped into him. "Icarus system is— It's fighting me," he gasped. Blood dripped from his nose onto the touchscreen. They hardwired the targeting sequence into the flight computer. Kane's earpiece crackled. Cole's voice cut through the static. "We've got the board in custody, but Covington's missing." He must have. The transmission dissolved into noise as the ship pierced the upper atmosphere. A new alert flashed across every screen. Icarus activation sequence initiated. T-minus 90 seconds to firing solution. Musk slammed his fist against the console. "The override's not working. We need to." Kane didn't let him finish. He ripped open an emergency panel beneath the life support console, exposing the ship's ancient backup system, a physical circuit breaker SpaceX engineers called the Widowmaker. No software. No safeguards. Just a raw power disconnect that could fry every system on board if misused. "Hold on to something," Kane growled, and threw the switch. The ship convulsed like a wounded animal. Every light extinguished at once, plunging them into darkness broken only by the eerie blue glow of emergency battery packs. The engine's roar faded to silence as the starship entered freefall. For 3 terrifying seconds, they were astronauts without a ship, plummeting toward the Pacific. Then the backup systems stuttered to life, and the cabin lights flickered on to reveal Musk gripping his console with white-knuckled hands. The main display flickered. The media called it the SpaceX mutiny. Congressional hearings lasted 6 months. Covington vanished, until Interpol found his body in a Monaco hotel with a single bullet wound and an Omega X-33 watch still ticking on his wrist. Musk personally testified against the remaining board members, his recovery from whatever drugs they'd given him painfully public. The Starship program was temporarily grounded, its every line of code audited by international observers. Kane stood beside Cole at the press conference when she unveiled her new atmospheric safeguards, systems that couldn't be overridden, not even by the CEO. The reporters didn't notice the wedding ring back on Kane's finger, or how Cole's hand lingered near her sidearm when new SpaceX investors came too close. As for Project Icarus, the technology was dismantled under UN supervision. Mostly. On a private beach in Costa Rica, Kane watched his daughter Lena, the hacker who'd hijacked SpaceX's comms during the crisis, build a sandcastle with Cole. The tide was coming in. Somewhere overhead, a new kind of starship arced across the sky, its trajectory clean and peaceful. Musk's text flashed on Kane's phone. "Security detail starts Monday. Double your old rate." Kane deleted the message and tossed the phone into the waves. Some missions didn't need a bodyguard. Just a man who knew when to walk away.